Exactly. Like, I was like, where I didn't get it. I think half of them look
Zach
older than
Morris
her.
is walking around on his giant cell phone.
Well,
freezing all the action by saying time out.
See, she went with the long distance thing because at the other school that she was at, she was a track coach. So she knew that she could beat them and get them to listen to her at that point. And that's how she was going to earn her respect.
Well, that's actually not why she beat them. She beat them because she ran the Boston Marathon twice.
Yes.
The track coach thing is inconsequential.
Why couldn't she have ran it in 2013? Am I right?
Right. Getting real close to the edge. But, too soon, folks? Yeah, it's the whole movie is just a bunch of old, basically, old school sports gags and gimmicks. Even to the point where... Okay, so the funniest part to me is that she finally gets the respect of this team. One of the guys goes, "Fuck you," or whatever he says, and she's like, "Fuck you, what?" And he's like, "Fuck you, Coach McGrath." And like, all of a sudden they suddenly respect her. There's no animosity. There's nothing wrong between them. And this may have to come up again later, but I just have to say, since we're talking about this whole race point. Did you really watch that whole run around the track at all? Like, did you see Wesley Snipes as he was running around the track with her? Mm. So he starts off running. The whole team's going. They slowly start to fall off. Wesley Snipes running around the track with her. He's hanging out. She finally discloses that she's running the Boston Marathon. He's like, "Oh shit!" So at that point, he's completely clean, like pristine white uniform, which they all have every time they start practice. So there's a really good housekeeper in Central Chicago. But as they're going, it starts raining, and they start falling in the mud, and then all of a sudden, he's all muddy, head to toe mud. Then, 2 seconds later, he's coming around the back turn, he's completely clean again. Then he starts running, and they're talking again, and he's completely dirty again. I'm like, really?
Now,
no continuity at all?
Now, that, you might think that if you would have said any other actor but Wesley Snipes. I buy it. Yeah, well, I absolutely buy it.
Craziness.
That's Wesley Snipes.
And this movie is full of it.
All right, let's move into, let's talk about some acting. Let's talk about the acting in the movies. Fellas, Vic, go ahead.
Come on. Mark Wahlberg. What else can you say?
I was waiting for him. Oh, sorry.
I can't do the accent. I defer to that to you, but I mean... It's believable. Even though he's from Boston, he's playing a Philly boy.
You just sound like you kind of like a dumb douchebag.
He plays it off. He plays off as a good Philly boy. I mean, I lived in Philadelphia. You see these idiots around all the time.
So it wasn't Mark Wahlberg's Boston accent that comes through in everything he does, no matter what.
Well, of course it was. You can't get past that, so you just kind of have to look past that. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. But Craig Kinnear, great actor. Elizabeth Banks, she's hot. Michael Rispoldi. And just about everything at that time. But, I mean, it's the actors in it, it was good acting. They had actual dialogue that wasn't, I like her titties. or, farting every 5 minutes. So, it was actual dialogue conversations. They had, real moments between a father and his son. Really emotional moments. At one point, his wife decides that he's a loser, so she leaves him. And with, the couple things he has left over, he just loses it, which I think anybody in that situation would. Which I'm sure she was real pissed off since 2 days later he becomes, a big star. I'm surprised they didn't pull that back into it. But, I mean, I enjoyed watching that and listening to the conversations going on in the movie. And the relationships between his different friends. The one guy that was on that his brother had died in the war or came back deaf or something like that. I can't remember if he said he was dead or not. But the conversation he was having with him and all these guys kind of rode on his shoulders. Like you can do something. You can get out of here. We're stuck here, but you still have a chance to get out of here. And then they kind of put all their eggs in his basket, and they really want him to succeed. So as far as that goes,
so
I think it's a much better
football
movie.
entourage.
It's exactly what it is. If you trust me, if you watch it, that's exactly what it is. And the dude that lost his brother was Turtle, so you can't say anything.
Well, unlike that cast, I had cast that that everybody has seen these actors before. They're really familiar with them.
Not before this movie.
No, not before this movie.
Yeah.
But
because if this is how you jump off your career.
Well, hell, you look at Invincible. I only know 2 of those people.
Who?
Elizabeth Banks.
You don't know who Craig Kinnear is?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, 3 people.
And you don't know who Michael Rispoldi is?
I would have to look him up.
look him up and then tell me you don't know.
Unlike my cast, where you have the return of Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes to our
not
show.
the return.
That's the return to this show.
No, not the return. The start of.
So to this show.
I'm saying to the show.
Oh, to
They've
this
been
show.
here a lot.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
We're big fans of old Woody and Wesley.
Yeah.
Here on the show now. If anybody knows them, please let them know about the show.
Yeah.
We talk about them constantly.
And Woody is from Indiana, so, kind of. You also had Swoozie
He was
Kurtz.
on Cheers.
Yeah. Well, he is in real life too. He spent a little time here.
That I did not know. You learn
I
something
wonder
new
if
all
he's
the
my
time.
dad.
Could be.
Really?
More likely to be Wesley, but
You
Oh,
also
there's a little black in you.
you had Swoozie
no, I'm just
Kurtz.
half vampire, so it's got to come from somewhere. Or I guess I'm a quarter vampire
There
because
you
my
go.
dad was supposedly just half, so it's a whole thing. Go ahead.
All right, thanks. You had Swoozie Kurtz, Nipsey Russell, Jan Hooks, Michael Williamson.
I don't want to give away too much behind the scenes, but somebody may have gotten double points for mentioning Nipsey Russell.
Goldie Hawn,
Raw.
the star of this said film, who looks adorable, with the exception of her hair in some scenes, but I can look by that. And also Bruce McGill, who plays the opposing coach at the end that we already mentioned. Like I said, this cast, a lot of it was their first film, and some of them actually was early in their career too. So I mean, you could actually see their careers blossoming from this film.
You really think that this was the actual kickstart to their careers?
Well, since Woody and Wesley did 3 films together,
Yeah, but Woody did. Woody was already well known by Cheers before this movie.
I'm not so sure
When
about
did
that.
this movie come out?
This movie came out. Hold on, let me fact check that for
Fairly
you.
sure he was in Cheers before this movie.
It came out in '86, and if I can find it, Cheers. He was on Cheers in. Let's see.
Because he came in later
In
on Cheers.
'85. So this was probably filmed in '85. So it may have been filming about the same time.
That's all I got to say to that.
Yeah, but he hadn't hit a success. With
I
Cheers.
don't know. That wasn't my point.
So this was actually probably filmed right at the beginning of his Cheers startup. So anyhow, you had the start of all these fine young actors' careers, with the exception of Goldie Hawn, because we know she's been around since the '60s. So, but yeah, I mean, this cast compared to your cast, it's like, yeah, you got to look at the numbers. I think there was just many more.
So
stars.
you're going the machine gun route as opposed to, you're going spray and pray rather than sniper shot is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean,
So let's talk about their acting chops.
okay, let's do that.
Okay, so 3 lines for Woody Harrelson. Let me give you one set of lines from Woody Harrelson. So you're going to give up being a quarterback? Did I ever tell you I make a really good slot back? That's more lines than he had in the whole damn. That's probably the majority of the lines he had in the whole movie.
He had other lines.
Very few, but I'm like that was the most engaging he was in the whole movie. Is my point.
He wasn't the star of the movie.
Doesn't matter. We're talking about acting in general, regardless of who the star is.
But anyway, just every scene, it was just you had star power. And Invincible, you just had 1, sometimes 2. Sometimes you had 2. You had Elizabeth Banks and Marky Mark in the scene. Or,
I was waiting for him to start calling Marky Mark.
you damn right I'm going to call him that. Or you might have Greg Kinnear and Marky Mark together. But you never had more than 2 at the same time.
What if, hear me out, what if the music video for Good Vibrations was actually just him training for this role?
Mine?
Yeah, I mean, they would have to be elite.
Nipsey Russell is probably the saving grace for this entire movie.
Because he's black.
That and he's funny as shit. I mean, let's call a duck, and the bitch was quacking. So I mean, when it comes down to it, I'll give you the props, but that's pretty much the saving grace for the entire thing because the dialogue sucked. The people in it were mildly funny, but
we'll talk about the dialogue later. That's another category.
That's acting. The whole point of dialogue is what they're doing as acting. Okay. But I mean, when it came down to it, okay, so who was the idiot that was the husband?
Who's the actor?
Yeah.
The actor was, hold on.
That list is so long, you have to look it up.
James Keach.
Okay, so James Keach, how popular is he? Because he's an idiot. Like, that character was just ridiculous. So she gets into an argument with him constantly about having, which honestly, she probably should have those kids taken from her. Like, because if she was a black woman, a single black woman, and that had to happen to her kids, they would have taken those kids out of that house like the day after the day they found her with her hair turned red.
Yeah, but this is still the 80s.
Yeah, white privilege. Shut up. That's when it all started.
It's still the 80s. The whole child thing, the endangerment.
They got a court date. She had a lawyer. They went to court within a week, had it all settled out, and then all made up by the end of the movie. Like, it's unrealistic. It didn't happen.
He felt bad. He felt bad for her he realized what she was trying to do.
So for multiple days of being a dick in this movie, like one half-hour into the football game, he changed his whole opinion about what he thought of his ex-wife and what was going on.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a
exactly.
Premise. That's some good acting.
It is. It's very good, and that's why this cast was better.
All right, let's move on to directing. All right, now this I kind of feel like this is where you should have kind of the upper hand, being that you are a director yourself. So why don't you go ahead and start us off here, Corey?
All right, my director is actually the same director who directed The Golden Child and Fletch, and ironically enough, Bad News Bears. His name is Michael Ritchie, and for this is just a typical '80s film.
Hold on, can you say that one more time?
Say what?
What you just said? What did he direct?
He directed Golden Child and Fletch and Bad News Bears.
Oh,
among
so
others.
So he did just remake Bad News Bears because it was already a movie he had done, so he didn't have to even work on it. He just redirected it. So
yes, but now
same storyboards, really easy. We'll just dust this off, smack that up there, turn all those little white kids into little black kids, call it a day. Movie done.
Little black kids.
Yeah, damn straight, because they're all like 30.
But here's the thing, though. This is just your typical '80s film. I mean, there was everything about it. You had the music montage that with them training and the cheesy music playing and them growing as a team and getting better. You had the character development of her struggling at first and then coming around in the end and winning the big game against her arch rival. You had the subplot of her possibly losing her kids. Everything is very 80s film by the book. And as far as Invincible goes, you had a director who was a cinematographer, and this was his first film, and he's only done one other movie since then, which has yet to come out, which is the remake of Point Break, which is I can't even comment on it because I haven't seen anything, but I have no high hopes on that film. And as a cinematographer, he probably had this idea of we should put yellow tint through a lot of these scenes, and that was beyond annoying I don't know, it must have been the first 20, 30 minutes, and there's other scenes scattered throughout where the picture was just a yellow tint. And it's like, why is this so yellow? It's annoying. But it's just a sign of a first-time director.
So, what's a cinematographer to you?
Cinematographer is the guy that runs the camera. He sets up shots, and he basically is the man with the eye through the lens of the camera.
What's a director do?
The director tells everybody what to do, and as the director, he should have known. No, we don't use a yellow lens here. Let's just keep it let's just keep it straight.
Well, the yellow lens was just to give it that
Dirty
older
look.
feel. Yeah, that like I don't know if you ever been to Philadelphia, but that's exactly what it looks like if you walk to Philadelphia.